Welcome to the summary of knowledge and skills for Guitar Fundamentals 2, Chapter 7, in which we talked about practicing scales. You should use this video lesson, as well as all the other summary video lessons, as a brief review, a recap of everything that was discussed in the chapter that came right before this lesson, so that you can give yourself a little test as to whether or not you actually do know. Did you pick up all of that information? Can you consider it knowledge? Do the skills that we presented pose a problem, or can you do them? Are you competent at them? So that if you do have all of that knowledge in your mind and you can do all of those things and you have those skills, then you move on. If not, here's your chance to review and see if you need to work on them a little bit more. In this previous chapter, what we worked on was practicing scales, and specifically we combined that with using a metronome. So the first thing is, why and how would you use a metronome? We showed you why you use a metronome, because it's a very good tool. It's an objective time measuring device. It gives you an objective reference point so that you know whether or not you're playing any given scale or riff or melody or any given piece of music in time at the right tempo. The hows of using a metronome we dealt with by showing you that you can use the Guitar Tricks metronome and how to use it to practice, in this case, scales. We used the C major scale and the C minor scale to contrast it, and showed you how to practice various scale patterns with the metronome and why that's important. There are a number of people in especially pop styles music that frown upon practicing scales because that's not real music. Of course, no, of course it's not music. But the point is, you practice scales so that you get better, you get more fluent at playing your instrument, you get more tuned to what a scale sounds like, so that when you need any given part of a scale, when you're playing a melody or solo, that you have it readily at your disposal. I've heard those notes before. They're this part of the scale, or a minor scale. I've heard those notes. Those are the 1, 7, 5, 4, 3 of the minor scale. I've heard that. I can do that. I've practiced the scale. I'm familiar with it, sound-wise and mentally, as well as I can physically play it because I've practiced it. So, no, practicing scales is not music, but it's very useful because you're training your mind and ear to hear the notes that you would use to play a piece of music, as well as you're training your fingers to play them as well. So there's a little bit of justification for the hows and whys of you practicing scales and why that's important. We used 4 specific scale patterns to practice our C major and minor scale. We used straight up and down patterns. We also used patterns of 3 in which we sequence the scale in 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then back down likewise. Then we changed that to a sequence of 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then likewise down in 4s. Finally, we concluded with a pedal point exercise in which we play up the scale, but the pedal point, the note that is pedaling, or the point we return to, is the root note each time. So you should understand what is meant by a sequence of 3s or 4s. You should understand what is meant by straight up or down the scale. You should understand what is meant by pedal point. And you should be able to play it. All of the exercises that were shown were played through at least one time along with the metronome, and you should be able to do it yourself, or you should be able to play along with it on the video lessons. So, if you know that you can do it, that's great, good for you. It's a lot of hard stuff to do for a beginner. You're ready to move on. If you can't nail each one of those, make sure that you take the time to go back to those lessons and review them, listen, learn, and play along with them until you can successfully play along with all of those specific scale example exercise patterns, and that you can do so confidently and cleanly and competently. Then you will be ready to move on to the next chapter in the Guitar Fundamentals 2 course, and we'll see you there.